It's another episode. I got somebody special here for y'all today. It's all good.
You don't gotta be perfect, you just gotta get started. Don't overthink it. Just go where your heart is, turn your dreams and your goals. Let your goals shape how you live. Success is inevitable if you're willing to give up your old self to become someone new, to be the true you. Never be afraid to do you in front of the critics.
Rodney B's in the house. We got a great discussion for y'all today.
Your excuses are useless. Let your actions be part of the solution and watch the income it produces. Recognize greatness, a supreme revelation. Years of blood, sweat, and tears to become an overnight sensation. Can't do it alone. I should have said this first. Teamwork always makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. We have another episode of You Don't Have to Be Perfect. And this Monday, we got somebody special in the house. We got my boy, Mr. Rodney B in the house.
What's going on, everybody? What up?
Rodney, you have been doing some amazing, take them back to our history, but I want to touch on, you're really doing a culture shift right now.
Sure. Yeah.
With good music, the shows, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Please, how did we get here?
How did we get here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a journey. I would say that music has always been a part of my life. It's always been a dream of mine to dive into some way of music and really to just to fall in love with the music, man. So music has always been a major part of my life. I grew up playing the trombone. My dad is a well-known saxophonist in the area. Funny story is that growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to hip hop, or actually some hip hop because my parents are pastors. But I still found a way. I used to hide CDs and cassette tapes in the high panels of the ceiling. And I used to wait up at 9:00 at night and listen to Power 99 and record the cassettes. So I mean that's where it came from. I just always found a way to get into the music. So yeah.
And you're real classic feel because you have vinyl
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. So you're bringing back the actual record store.
Yeah.
Kids that are under 18 don't realize the feel of walking into a record store and running in and getting that new vinyl or getting that new CD till the tape popped, right? And you're playing. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think what happened with the streaming era that we're in right now is that the younger generation did miss that, right? So there's always a space where folks are always going to want to be able to hold something and to own something. So when they listen to streams, then they don't own that piece of music. They don't have it. They can't hang that on their wall and have that poster, or even have that experience of putting the tape in a cassette player and closing it and putting on the headphones or walk around with a Walkman or even just listening to the crackle of a vinyl. So what's happened is they're realizing that they don't have that. And there's that's what I'm doing, but that's like the business side of it. But for me, it was just like I just love music. I love vinyl and I love high quality music, right? So there's nothing that can be compared. There's no streaming platform. I don't care what anybody says to compare to the warmth that you get when you listen to vinyls.
I see the pictures that you put up of your vinyl room in the house.
I got a whole room dedicated to it.
So I could, you can't dedicate a room to streaming unless you're going to be a streamer. But you can set a room, set a feeling, and that's that crackle of that first vinyl. I still have, tons of vinyl that my auntie gave me, and that feeling when you put that.
You know what I'm talking about.
So I love it, but you're also creating an atmosphere and an event space every month.
Yeah,
which
so
is totally different and bigger, right?
yeah, so I mean, I know we have Archer and I know the PPNL Center, but if you dive into music, you'll see spaces that are extremely intimate, right? And that's what we do at Good Music. So right now we're highlighting jazz, but we got some neo soul artists that I'm working with in Philly. We got some R&B artists, obviously. I'm opening the space up to even some like alternative rock and roll. I'm definitely gonna add some blues in there. But it's just gonna be it's a really intimate space to really get to know the artist, whether it's somebody that's established, somebody that's up and coming, or somebody that's trying to get their wheels turning in the industry or in the genre or in the game. So yeah, man. So we have these monthly events, uh, and it's been going amazing.
I mean, it's been. I see like the atmosphere that you're community
Yeah,
first,
community
right?
based. Yeah, for sure.
Um, and the feeling that everyone walks out when I hear about your events, I'm like, man, like my little brother's doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, this was a show I've been trying to get, because I wanted the world to know what you're doing, right? Because you're not just building a business, you're building a culture,
Yeah.
right? Of nostalgic feels of music. Like when most people don't know who their favorite artist is, right? They've
Mhm.
never gotten to touch them,
Mhm.
feel them, but you're putting them in a space where they can touch them, feel them, really get music. Like
Yeah.
ah,
Like even when you go to concerts now, like you're so far away from the artist, right? With this, right,
yes,
you're a couple feet, a couple yards away from the artist, right? And you're getting a real feel for who the artist is. So it's just, if it's an artist that's up and coming or an artist that you don't know, and you're listening to them on a streaming platform, you're missing an element there, right? You don't get that. You don't get that one on one or that real touch and feel, and really gets the essence of who that audience is and what that song means.
yes,
Um, so yeah, so like when you can listen to my dad on YouTube or on Facebook and listen to him play the sax, but when you experience that in person, it's totally different, right? Yeah, you
yes,
get to feel his energy. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you created an energetic space, and I don't want to let that pass,
Hmm.
right? Because it's not a music space, even though we play music, right?
Hmm.
What people don't realize is that music is a vibration.
Hmm.
A lot of the reasons why our kids are lost right now is because they're being tuned into the wrong vibration. So you're creating an energy space where people can walk into
Hmm.
and
Yeah, sure.
feel
And heal.
empowered
Yeah.
and heal, because you're selling books as well in your space.
Hmm.
You're selling, is this from your line?
Yeah. So this is the
Everyone
part of my
catch the line.
the first
Let
drop.
me move out the way so you catch it.
Room for everybody black. It's high quality. This isn't just a hoodie that you can go and get. Because I want to be different. I think that in 2025 you can go to the mall and get a shirt and get something ironed onto the shirt, right? I wanted something with a little bit more flavor, a little bit more quality. So I did a lot of research in getting high quality garments and working with a great print shop that really screen printed some high quality paint. So I've actually washed this several times and it's great, man. So when I produce something and everything that I do, it's going to be made in excellence and it's going to be made to last. So like that's one of my core values when it comes to this space and to this business.
I love it. You know, excellence, right? Because we're not asking you to support a black business,
Mm.
asking you to support a business. I just happen to be black.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot of times where we go wrong as black business owners is we expect you to support our black business
yeah.
when we give you low quality work.
No, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? If the quality isn't there, I don't expect you to support me,
Right, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And
So
like, I don't want favors.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I think that's a major issue that we have in our community when it comes to like black business, right? So for me, I was like, I personally, and I want folks to support my business because I'm black, but the product and the stuff that I'm producing is of high quality. And I support businesses, but sometimes, I've supported black businesses where it's like, man, like I want to support you so bad, like that's where it starts. But if you can't give me quality work or a quality plate of food or a quality garment, then it's really hard for me to support that and really move forwards. But I also want to make sure that we create spaces for black and brown folk that like are starting their businesses, and don't and are not at that place yet, right? So I think that there's a coaching, right? So if you're able to get that feedback and that constructive criticism, so that you can grow, then yeah, I'll support you all day. I'll let you fumble and drop the ball and take the money and mess up a couple times, but I got to see that you're improving, that you're trying. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to get over on me, then that's a different story.
And we all fumble, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't all, no business starts off perfect,
No,
right?
yeah, start
You
messing.
know,
Yeah, for sure.
were you a perfect person coming in?
No, no.
Did
Yeah.
you have any stumbles and
Oh,
mistakes
for
along the
sure.
way?
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
For sure.
because I've been blessed to know you,
Yeah.
and see your growth. But someone may not know how imperfect life started for you.
Yeah.
Are you willing to share any of your imperfections that got you here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's an open book, man. I made a lot of mistakes. Which one you want to talk about?
Whichever ones you want to share.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you're a great father now,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And sometimes we have to bump our heads as many times as
Mhm.
we need to,
Yeah, yeah.
right? In order to be great.
I mean, so for when it comes to like the fatherhood and for marriage, I think that those are two things that I definitely made sure that no matter where I'm at in my journey, that I want to put that first. So like, I don't think I've ever necessarily seen that struggle necessarily, but like, I make mistakes. I can be a hothead. I could. I know one of my struggles that a lot of folks probably know about because I've been a little bit more transparent about it is my alcoholism and how honestly God has just taken that out of my life, right? So, um, yeah. So I mean, for me, it was like I was always a functional. That's what they call it, a functional alcoholic, where I can work and I mean I could drink and still be able to maintain my life. So I would that yeah, that's one of the struggles that I'm God has taken away from me.
And that's awesome that you're open about that. So, because there's other people right now saying I'm a functional alcoholic, you know.
A lot of folks that don't realize that they're functional alcoholic, right? So like yeah, so you can still drink that, and if I think what happens is a lot of people when you look at like the definition of alcoholism and the dependency is a lot of people are doing it right, and they just don't realize that they're in that net. Now I was pretty deep in the net, mind you, um, but if you're drinking that glass of wine, that bottle of wine 2-3 times a week, you got I advise you to take a look at that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I mean, and it's amazing for you to first of all look at your own self and say this is something that I need to do, and then to make sure that you give credit to a higher power,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Um, because faith is what carries us.
Hmm.
You know, everyone's test will be different, right? But if we can follow through
Hmm.
our testimonies can
Right.
be great.
Yeah, for sure. I
You
think
know,
yeah, and I guess there's a space where folks are ashamed of that space and ashamed of that struggle or that testimony. But if I can help somebody, you know, realize that you're not alone. A lot of people are struggling with it. Facebook has a way, and social media has a way of painting a picture where you only see people's wins. You don't see the losses. You don't see the negative aspects of their life. So, I mean, I'm not ashamed. That's part of my struggles, part of my story. A lot of people didn't know that, and but yeah, that's something I've been. And honestly, it's like it just came out. I talked to God, and for years and years, he's like, I can't take it to the next level if you holding on to that. So, you know, I
and
let that go.
that's great to know, and because a lot of us struggle in our own journey on what we need to let go of,
Hmm.
right? Because we all have a calling. No one was born by mistake, right?
Hmm.
Everyone has a purpose, and many of us lose our way on our purpose because we're so busy trying to compare ourselves with other people's journeys, right? Rodney B has good music already, so I can't do this,
Hmm.
right? This person did this, so I can't do this. Let me just drink my life away.
Yeah.
Let me just, complain my life away. And I love that you said that it didn't come from perfection, right? Because right now people are seeing you winning,
Hmm.
right? And many of them may not have seen you work a job, right? You still got a job,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
for sure.
still, shout out to I Do Realty because you're still doing real estate.
Yeah, I
with
still
them.
in real estate. I start a couple. I got to, I still got to make sure the food's on the table. I can't take risk on my family, so I'm at risk with the business, but I can't like put my kids and my wife and my household in jeopardy in the means of that. So until I'm making the type of money that I want to make in at good music, I'm gonna continue working part time, and honestly that space might be coming sooner than I think.
And that's a blessing. We forget that it's okay to invest in
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And everyone's always looking for an outside investor. I need someone to give me a grant. I need someone to give me a scholarship. I need someone to do this. But sometimes you just need to get the job.
Mm-hmm.
You get a job and invest in yourself.
Yeah. You
You
gotta start.
know,
You gotta start. You
man.
gotta start. You gotta start. I would say just get started. And it's gonna take those long. You're gonna work those 8 hour shifts, and then you're gonna have to get off, and then you gotta work those 3-4 hours and making your dreams come true. And eventually, if you're on the right grind, on the right purpose, and it'll the doors are open. So yeah.
And I love it because in building out your event space, I remember you taking pictures of chairs,
Hmm.
before you
Yeah.
you refinish them and
Yeah.
everything else. So all of the furniture hand touched by you?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, because I started this thing. So first, for one thing, I took a pay cut to start this dream. So the disposable income that I once had, I don't have anymore because I got to put that energy over
Mm-hmm.
here. And then second thing, like the saying that like one thing that I love to do, I love to get things out the mud. Like I love to start something from the bottom, from zero, from the negative, and bring it up. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have much money to work with when I started this. I kind of just dove right in. I didn't save. I probably should have saved a little bit more money before I started. I probably should have did a little bit more business planning. But at the same time, if I would have done that, I wouldn't have. I might not have started. I might have discouraged myself a couple more months, a couple more years before I got it started. So, yeah, when I first started, man, I was going on Facebook Marketplace finding stuff. I would drive 40 minutes, an hour away to Philadelphia to grab some used chairs or grab this piece of the table up in the Poconos that I know this guy makes butcher block tabletops, and he has this that he messed up on. So I would go and grab those. I take these old chairs and I would sand them down, get all the rust off of them, um, and then spray paint them and then cover them with some sealant. Take those tabletops from up top, learn how to use a sander, learn how to polish stuff. So I think one of the best things about my journey is that like I know what it is to not have and then figure something out. Make lemonade out of lemons. You know what I'm saying? Make something out of
Yes.
nothing. Turn a dollar out of
You
15
was, yeah,
cents or
you was on
whatever.
your
Yeah,
chitty chitty bang bang,
yeah,
try to make $1 out of 15 cents.
yeah. So
And I loved that you shared the journey, right? Most people only share the perfection, right?
mhm.
Like you were open and honest. Hey, I got this chair off scrap, because I think it allows someone else to dream,
Mhm.
right? Because it's a beautiful space now,
Yeah.
right? Because I it's a beautiful. If you haven't been there, tell them your next event. We're
Yeah.
going next event. Tell them
Next
right now.
June 21st, Juneteenth weekend. We're at 620 Hamilton Street, not Street. Doors open at 7. If y'all want tickets, hit up the link and I'll send the link out to y'all. So yeah,
So it's a beautiful space, right?
jazz, poetry, soul food. Yeah,
And,
it's gonna be dope.
and what I love even more about this space is this young man said he took it from the mud, right, and built most of this stuff from scratch. There's so many ways that we can build a space,
Mhm.
right? But most of us think we have to buy everything perfect.
Mhm.
And I love that you shared, hey, I may have to sand this down. I may have to take this skin off of this and put it like this. I'm like, man, thank you. Like
Yeah,
I didn't get to applaud you in
appreciate it.
person, but I want to do that now. I want to give you your flowers because that part was just as important as opening up, right? Because when we can inspire someone else to dream big,
Mhm.
right? When we can allow someone else to know that I can do it, right? Continue to flourish.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I thank you, for showing, the flubs. I have a content creator now, so she shows more of my flubs. I'm too busy doing everything, so I don't get the chance to show my flubs. Right? I don't mind showing that I'm totally imperfect. I make a mistake every day.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't make the same mistake every day, but I make a mistake every day on purpose, right? And I say that because you can't learn if you don't try,
Right.
right? So I love that you took a journey that no one else did, and then you said something that I want someone else to catch that no they may have missed. You took a pay cut. What? How was that? Knowing that you have a family, a wife who's wonderful, great kids, but there has to be some explanation around here. Like you had some explaining to do, right? You had some explaining.
My wife has always been very supportive, so she knows that this music thing, this music space has always been a dream of mine. So that's A. That's you got to make sure your significant other signs in. So that's one thing, and then I've been pretty known to travel, right? I'm on a plane on vacation 3-4 times a month. I mean 3-4 times a year. Um, so unfortunately, that had to get cut, right? Eating out at Three Oaks and all these other expensive restaurants, that had to get cut. Um, you know, my shoe shopping and Jordans, and that had to get cut. The one thing that I could not.
Hey, you should have joined me in the $30 shoe crew. I got
I
you.
feel you. So the one thing that I refuse to sacrifice is my kids, right? So they're always going to stay in sports. They're going to still be active. They're still going to be able to have fun and have a childhood that a childhood that I didn't have, right? So not that no shot at my parents, because they did the best that they could with what they got, but the point of having kids and so that
The next
the
generation
next
does
generation
better.
can do better. Right?
Yes.
So they did
Yes.
what they had to do. Now I'm doing what I had to do. So now their grandkids are winning off of their fruits of their labor. Right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So that's just one thing. That's one space I just could not sacrifice. Was my kids. I don't want to say enjoyment, but just making sure that they had a full life.
The extracurricular
Yeah,
activities.
yeah.
And I love that you say that because having a good partner seems to be important. You know, and I don't mean business partner for people, but because the first partner you have is always at home.
Yeah.
So
Sure. That's
having a
important.
good partner that supported the dream, that understood the progress,
Yeah.
seemed to be so important.
No, if it wasn't for her, I mean, there's nights that when I have a show, Angie's there, and she not. I mean, I pay the staff, but Angie not getting paid. You know what I'm saying? She's there to help, to support, to be my eyes in the kitchen when I'm in the front, and be my eyes out front when I'm in the kitchen. So like it is a partnership, because I couldn't do it the way that is going down at all without her, for sure. Yeah.
And that's so important because a lot of us stunt ourselves by not being honest with who we are first and who our partner is second. Like sometimes we have to admit, hey, I wasn't who I needed to be for her, but now she can no longer be because I didn't. Sometimes we have to own that. I'm one who had to own that. Like I was a terrible husband. That's why I was young, dumb, and stupid. So when I did mature, we matured at a different level. So and in a different time, so we couldn't mature together, unfortunately. And that a lot of times we don't know when to let go. I didn't know when to let go, but family's always 1st. But I love that you talked about having a great partner and knowing what to sacrifice, right? Because maybe I sacrificed the wrong things. My kids always were in extracurricular activities, but maybe I sacrificed the wrong things for her. You had a better discussion, and
Communication. Yeah, for sure.
communication is key, right? And being willing to make the right sacrifices because your boys are beautiful.
I appreciate
You know what I mean? Even though Nehemiah don't remember sitting on my shoulders anymore because he's so big, they're big, they're beautiful, they're supported, and it's in a loving home,
Yeah, for sure.
right? I think more than anything else, right? The home, right?
Yeah.
That loving home that you're allowing them to be nurtured in, because you say the next generation, right? What their greatness can be,
Yeah.
because they got to see a loving home,
Yeah.
mom and dad working together, sacrifices being made.
Yeah.
You know, how does that, as dad,
Mm.
allow you to feel?
I'm blessed all around the way, man. Like my kids are great. Nehemiah has a junior honor society, like a 4.2 GPA. Ezra is super free spirited, but loving, man. Like that's
It's always been.
anybody always you know that. Like he's always been such a loving kid. Joshua is like he's like a little boss in the making. He just demands what he demands, and he doesn't take anything but it. And then Liam's the baby's the youngest one. His middle name is King, and he really carries that. As young as he is, he carries that already. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm blessed with all around the way, man. Like, for real.
Yes, and I wanted to make sure that we highlight it, right? And shout out to Angie. That you're doing this while raising a family because you didn't have to sacrifice.
No, yeah.
A lot of us don't realize that we can be entrepreneurial families, right? I wanted to tell the story of the imperfect entrepreneurial family, and not that your family's imperfect, but the start was imperfect. We scratched it from the mud. We built these,
I mean,
like you built
everybody.
the tables and chairs, like that was.
Every chair you sit on, I sanded them down. I spray painted them. I took the nuts and the bolts out of them. I took the bottoms out. I replaced the new cushions. Everything you see, everything you touch in that space is new. I built the stage. I had to Google and YouTube how to build like a frame for a stage and build it solid, and that's what the guys sit down on. And I feel like, also a major part of the business is that it is something that we all are working together. So like when I serve the food, I have a cook that's from Allentown, a chef, I would say even that's from Allentown. She's well known. Rosita Suwan has been
Mhm.
amazing, making amazing plates for
Mhm.
years, and she was able to partner with good music and bring her catering to life for us. So she's been a major help. Even when it comes to the desserts. So Nehemiah is super talented, not only a genius but like an athlete. But he likes to bake, which is like such a curveball, as especially like a black father. Like you like to bake. Where did that? You know what I'm saying? So, but ever since he said it, I'm like, all right, man, that's what it is. We gonna invest. So, he's been baking for years, and he's been baking for the business. So, when you get a dessert from good music, it's Nehemiah's hands on that. So, yeah.
That's so awesome. We were just talking about all of the black fathers in our area that that have their kids involved in their businesses, you know, and to have them learn this at such a young age and support their dream,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know. So it's not even just good music; it's good music's Cakes by Nehemiah.
That's
Yeah, I
it.
heard that, right? Yeah, go support that young man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he'll be baking this summer. I didn't let him bake for folks in the school time because I wanted him to focus on that and sports. But this summer he gonna be doing some bakes. So stay tuned for that for sure.
All right, like that, like, and it's so important, right? You cannot, and it's nothing against getting a job because we said you
Oh
need a
yeah,
job a lot, right?
for
But you
sure.
cannot leave your job to your kids,
Yeah,
right? Like you can hire
yeah.
Nehemiah, and Nehemiah's how old?
They might be 13 this year. He said,
13, right? He's about to be 13, and he can have his business being built because daddy owns the business.
yeah, I mean, well, so for him, he wants ownership. So like,
Yeah.
so it's good music is partnering with Nehemiah Cakes and Nehemiah's Treats.
Yes.
So eventually he gonna LLC it, but he's building,
Yes.
yeah, for
And
sure.
that's so important, right? Because a lot of us are waiting for someone else to inspire our kids or to get behind their dreams. But if we take a risk for ourselves, we can then allow our that risk,
Yeah,
right, to be able to build something
yeah, you,
even greater.
yeah, you got to. I mean, I grew up around nothing but entrepreneurs. So even though my father being a pastor, I seen him start a church with no money. I mean, I know we were broke. I know we didn't have no money. I'm like, you're starting a church right now? That's not the best thing for us, right? But he started that thing and he built this empire where now, the James Lawson Freedom School, we got the pre-K counts, we got the church on 6th Street, we got renovating the biggest black developer in the city. So like I've been around that space where I've seen entrepreneurs start from nothing So I'm like, I know because I've seen him do it, I'm going to do it, you know. And then because Nehemiah has seen both me and his grandfather, well, he's seeing me do it, start from nothing, but he's seeing now the fruits of grandpa. Grandpa good right now because he started years ago. So, yeah. So Nehemiah's getting to the opportunity to experience that in the same light that I've had the opportunity to experience that.
And what I love is that, next generation up. So you're giving him ownership even earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's not even he's taking
you
it.
take
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
allowing,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't take anything we don't allow. So you're allowing that growth at such an early
Yeah,
age,
for sure.
where most of us were taught, we got to wait till we're 18.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's been a blessing to teach entrepreneurship to kids for so many years now, to let them know, hey, like I always, now I walk around with a sage bracelet everywhere and say she started at 4.
Yeah.
I still remember her first bracelet being sold to me. She said, "Mr. Paz, I have a special bracelet for you." Put it on my wrist, got me hooked on. So I was like, "Yeah." She's like, $8, please. I was like, "Oh, I can't take it off now. Like it's already on the wrist." Like, yeah, $8, please. You know, great hustle. And Nehemiah being able to lean into his passion, because you say baking is a passion for him, right? Because we're always talking about turning passion into profit. That's a passion of his. That passion may go away at some point, but he can have made it profitable now.
Yeah.
And grow like Big Ella. His son is now playing more football than rapping, but because he had a father that thought, hey, you want to rap? I want to get behind you.
Yeah, yeah,
He,
yeah.
so he got years of that experience.
Yeah.
If he chooses to come back to that,
Yeah.
he can say he had that years of experience.
I think it's so beneficial to lock in on what your dreams are early and then just put all that energy into it. Because I mean, this is where I'm at now. Is not this vision that God gave me is not something He just gave me. Right? He gave me this years ago. I just didn't have the courage to dive into it years ago, or maybe my alcoholism didn't allow me to have the courage to dive into it years ago. But I'm not bitter about that, but for my son, it's just like, yo, you start now. You're at 12, 13. You start baking now. By the time you're 21, bro, you're gonna be a monster. Like nobody's gonna be able to outbake you. So that's why it's important. So he don't have to stick with it, but my want for him is to lock in and to stay consistent at it, whether it's baking once a month or just. So I think consistency is key.
Yes, consistency is definitely key, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. But I always try to tell my parents too, um, what they may love today, they may not like tomorrow. So the consistency is not always in the actual business, but sometimes in the effort of getting up every day to do something you're passionate about and not give up on that thing. Because I, I I thought I was going to be an NBA basketball player. I didn't give up. My knees gave up, but my dream had to change because I didn't adjust with my body giving up. I went through years of being a violent drug dealer, right? Years of destruction because I didn't have anyone to pat me on the back and say you can do this too. So I always want to remind parents, they may be great at this, but they may not love it. You know, let them do what they love. If they can earn, yeah,
Sure, yeah.
and if they can earn now, right, they can save now, right, so they can do more of what they love at 20. Because if he makes 5,000 between now and 17, right, and we're not spending the money, we're allowing the money to grow. We're collecting interest. We're now teaching him to invest, right? Because daddy knows how to invest. By the time he's 18, he may say, "Dad, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Now I want to, just give back to community."
Yeah.
So there's so much that can happen because you allow them to be passionate now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love that you're tapping into his passion and allowing the children to be passionately profitable, because that's where we go wrong as black folks sometimes, or as anyone. I'll stay in my community because I only look like me. You know what I mean? A lot of times where we go wrong is we stunt their growth because we don't think they can be profitable with their passion. I love that you said that you're giving her an opportunity because he wants it.
Mhm.
And second of
For
all, that
sure.
he's gonna be an LLC,
Mhm.
right? So that's real, right? That's tangible. Even if he decides, I'll sell the business, he can now. You know how to build business credit and everything
Yeah.
else, right? We could sell the paydex score and build another.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I teach them. Bake, sell that thing. So yeah.
So I love what you're doing, and I love that you said this is a family experience. Because you didn't leave out that. Mom is doing everything that she can too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times because we're the face, we forget who's the back.
Mhm.
Because you said you can't do it without her.
No, I mean I can't. There's no way I would be. I mean, I got 4 kids, so just even the thought of me going into Philly to talk to artists, like somebody got to be at home with those 4 kids, right? And I know that's leaving and my boys, I got 4 boys, so there's a lot of energy in that house, with or without me in there. So for her to hold that down, and then just being so supportive, um, and in the business side of what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss that he's a realtor. You know what I mean? That's his part time. So we're talking about the business. I want to make sure you spend some. You can think about spending some money with him right now
Yeah.
until we go full time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell him a little bit about your real estate. I don't want to miss that
Yeah.
because that's what's funding the dream.
Yeah, I mean, so real estate. Honestly, the energy that I used to put into real estate is like I still work with. I still so real estate. I still help people with real estate, so I'm more like guidance now. So the real estate business is if I know them or if they know me or if they want to reach out to me, I'll do the transaction for them. I'll help them buy a house. I'll help them sell a house. Right now I'm in a space of real estate where I'm helping people. I'm helping people build their credit. I'm helping people understand what buying a house looks like in the process. I'm helping people find rentals and then also guiding them on what it looks like. Sometimes right now renters are wanting first month's, last month, and security. That can be $7,000, $8,000. I'm like, man, if you can double that, you can go buy a house. So I'm just coaching people into that. So right now, I think the biggest part is the cut that I took is in the real estate business. I'm not geo farming or prospecting, or door knocking or sending out mailers and making those cold calls like I was doing before. Right now, that's pretty much what my real estate business is kind of like that can't say passive income, but that's the business that took a hit, right? And A, because of the market, and then B, because I'm like I don't want to. My brand is now good music, right? So I help people in the real estate game, but I'm focusing 150. I'm going 200 miles an hour
Behind good music.
behind good music,
And
yeah.
so that doesn't mean you can't get that service until good music is 100%. So I didn't want,
No,
I
So
want what I wanted
I
to make sure, right, that people know what services they can support from you now,
yeah.
while building the brand,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
And
so with the real estate stuff, I'm more than willing. You reach out to me, I'll help you. If you're looking to buy a house, I'll be your realtor. If you're looking to sell a house, I'll be your realtor. If you got questions, I'm always here to be an open book so that people can learn. I think, one of the devastating things that happened in the Black community during the pandemic is that Black home ownership was cut by 50%. But we weren't really, unfortunately, our community was restricted and for numerous ways, from buying homes, um, and then that got cut in half. So I'm always open book and willing to help folks when it comes to buying. I'm just not doing the heavy prospecting and stuff like right now.
and that's great to know, right? And I wanted people to know because I want them to support everything, right?
Sure.
Especially because if this is my bread and butter until my bread and butter is fully buttered, you know what I mean? You know, help me.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
we're not asking to because my hand is out. I'm asking because I work hard.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I
I
provide a good
provide
service.
great service.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. If you're
You
buying
know.
or selling a house with me, or I'm helping you find a rental, or you need to find a rentee, or uh, I'm I do a great job at that, for sure, for sure. I think what happened was because real estate wasn't my passion, and once I felt like I mastered that space, I'm like, man, like There's no challenge in this no more. So I had to go. I'm like, well, let me take this time and really dive into my passion. So that's where I'm at now. Yeah.
And that's important. And I want someone to know that, right? He said something real key. He said he was good at real estate, still good at real estate, provides a great service, but he wasn't passionate about it the way he is passionate about good music,
For sure.
right? And a lot of times we find burnout in what we're doing is because we didn't find our passion.
Yeah.
We just found a profession,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you gotta find out. Yeah, I mean, you gotta work a job. You gotta put food on the table. You gotta keep money in the bank. But yeah, you don't overwork yourself. I mean, to me, it's no point. You got one life to live. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna live a life that you're gonna do things that don't make you happy. You're gonna work a job that you hate forever. I mean, there's a time and place for that. You got to do what you got to do, right? But you also got to dream, and hope, um, and really do things that you enjoy. So I mean, my dream is I want one of the inspirations that I had. Me and Angie, obviously Angie's Puerto Rican, so we go to Puerto Rico. Or we used to go to Puerto Rico pretty often. Like I said, I had to cut that, unfortunately.
For the time being.
For the time being, right? So we went to Puerto Rico and we were just looking for stuff to do. We looked up a museum in Luisa. Luisa is known for, this is the black part of Puerto Rico. This is where the slaves first came from the Congo to Puerto Rico. So this entire city is black. And there's a lot of history in that space. But we ended up finding this museum online. I'm thinking I'm about to walk into a museum. We walked into this guy's house, and his whole house was his art. From the walls had paintings. He had sculptures that were completed, sculptures that were half completed, started paintings, unfinished paintings, canvases all over the place. So like this guy was just an inspiration that he just wakes up in the house that he lives in, and he just does what he loves to do, and he makes a living off of that. So I'm like, obviously, like I want to make sure I make money to make and live a comfortable life and have something for retirement and leave something for my kids and make a positive impact on the community with my personal dollars. Um, but if I can do all that and still live and wake up every day and just do what I absolutely love, like that's the goal. Like that's the goal for me, right? And I don't know if I can inspire somebody else to get into that space. I'm telling you, man, you got one life. You're gonna squander this and hate your job. Like I said, you need to work that job to get to that next level, but you got to know that you don't got to stay there. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that because I only do what I want to do.
right,
Like if I don't want to do it,
yeah,
I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
And it's a freedom, right?
yeah,
Most of us never are ever free, right? White, black, orange, because we never find out what we're passionate about, right?
I think I have a theory on that though. I think that people know what they're passionate about and they know what they love. They just discourage themselves so much out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
somebody can say I love baking, but then have the thought that like, oh, I can't bake, or I'm too old to start, or I'm too old to go to school, or I'm too old, or I don't got the qualifications yet to get into music and this, that, and the third. And obviously there's some paths that you just can't take because like I can't go and become a rapper right now. You know, even though Griselda and all them did it. But I'm saying like where I'm at in my life, it doesn't make sense for me to just as good up until that part of that dream might have left. But I can start good music and have a space that has hi-fi, high quality sound, and have a music experience that's no other, or have those tangible items of music and that nostalgia and that culture.
You can still rap at home, right?
I still rap.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
I
at
still rap
home.
poetry.
Home is good music, right? You can.
Yeah.
I may not go out, but I can create my own space where because people are in my space, in my
Yeah.
place, enjoying. They may like. Not even may like. They will look for a monthly something.
Yeah. So I mean, like I so that just goes to say, like, man, there's no space that you can't achieve the dreams that you want. I think we just discourage ourselves so much, and reality sets in, and then the world tells us, no, you gotta be in the rat race in the wheelhouse, and you gotta work these jobs, and I think there's a time and place for everything, but I don't want to be on my deathbed like, man, I wish I would have. That's not. I can't see myself doing that.
That's so real. There's so many dreams that are stuck in the graveyard because someone was afraid to go after that dream.
For sure.
So I'm glad that you said that because someone right now is contemplating, right? Someone's sitting on the fence, you know, do I keep, can I work my job and build my business? You know, can I work my job, build my business, and still have a family? And you know, you're saying yes, you can, right? Yes, you can. It may not be as fast as others, right? You know, it may not move at the same way as others, but your dream is your dream, and if you do it your way,
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, because if good music had to be opened by Paz, we would never be open. If I had to scrape anything, build a chair, I have two left thumbs. Like, that would, you know, so you got to know your own strengths, right? And weaknesses, right? I would have had to hire Rodney or someone to come in there and build something, right? Because Mickey Mouse built a house, I was the one that knocked them over, you know, like, so knowing that, right? And tapping into that, because that probably was a passion project of itself as well.
I mean,
You know,
it was always fun working with my hands. Yeah. So I mean, I think a part of my not and I think a part of my journey. You know, I lived, and when I lived in Ohio, I lived in a house that was pretty much run down. Like it was a fire that was in the house, so I had to work with my biological dad, and me and him laid drywall, and I learned how to use power tools um, and use a screw gun and a nail gun and build a frame. So I there's that foundation, and I'm like this. I'm in a struggle at this point in my life, right? And now I'm older. I'm like, oh, because I know how to use that, I can build a stage without having to hire somebody. I'm not scared to use a drill or a nail gun. I know how to sand some. I know how to take an old piece of metal and make it fresh. You know, so yeah.
uh, listen, and you're hearing, right? Every test added to his testimony, right? A lot of us kick ourselves for being impoverished in our background, for having to get over something, you know, for having to eat wish sandwiches. You know, I wish there was some meat, you know, on this bread, you know. But all of those things, if you actually add them up, built some character,
Yeah,
right?
that's one thing. My grandfather Blackjack, he was a garbage man, and I used to work with him. Wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go work with him. He was always his thing was always like, man, when you dealing with other people's garbage and being a garbage man, you build character. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is this guy talking about? But now I'm old, man. I'm like, I get it, right? That experience humbled. Being, yeah, that will humble you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't look down on anybody that's out there working and trying, you know. So yeah, that humble. I have a humbleness and a thankfulness
Amen.
because of that.
One of the things that in being a good leader and building a good business, we we can't look down, right? So I tell people the only time I look down on you is to help you up, right? Because the janitor is as important as the CEO.
Yeah,
Because if it looks a mess, no one will hear your mess,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you got to treat everyone
Equally, yeah, for sure.
equally with some kind of respect. Everyone deserves a smile,
Yeah, for sure.
right? So I love that you reiterated that, because a lot of us think we only smile at our superiors, and there's no one superior. I don't care what their title may see, right? A lot of us see title as superior, so we only smile at the manager, the president, the CEO, when that janitor deserves that same smile,
Yeah,
that same handshake,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
That same amount of respect, because that janitor might have heard something you didn't hear,
Yeah,
right? May have been able to get you in a place you couldn't get,
yeah. You can
but
learn. You can learn something from everybody.
from
So
everyone,
yeah,
from everyone. But I tell you, this hour goes quick.
yeah, it
You know,
does.
we're already 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure before we go any
Sorry,
further. No, you're good. Before we go any further, that we make sure that people know how to buy tickets for your upcoming event.
for sure. Yeah,
You know, make sure that they get tickets for the upcoming event, and tell them where your location is. So even when you're not buying tickets, you can buy books, clothing,
records.
records. So tell
Yeah,
them where
yeah,
you
yeah. I
are and
appreciate it.
everything.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
right now, so we are at 620 Hamilton Street, which is the former Zion Church, where the Liberty Bell Museum used to be at. So 620 Hamilton Street, that's where the magic happens. Our next show is June 21st, which is the Saturday after Juneteenth. We're doing this Juneteenth weekend. And the theme, and I forgot to shout out our amazing partners and sponsors, which is Basement Poetry, and so they're collaborating with us and
Oh, you
bringing
got
some.
Chloe in there?
Yeah, yeah. So we're
Awesome.
working with Basement Poetry. They doing an amazing job. They do amazing work. So
Mm-hmm.
she gave us the opportunity to sponsor us. So they'll be bringing some poets. It's just going to be an amazing time. And obviously, with it being Juneteenth weekend, we definitely want to celebrate African Americans. We definitely want to celebrate Black. So the theme of this show is going to be Black Joy. So you're going to hear some Ray Charles. We'll be hearing some Stevie Wonder. Right, you might hear some Michael Jackson. It's just going to be very uplifting music, great poetry. Obviously, my dad's gonna be killing it on the sax. And if you want to get tickets, you can go check us out at goodmusic.com, which is GUDMUSYC.com. And then if you go to shows, you can buy it there. I also share the link with Paz so that he can get that populated on social
Yep.
media
And
buy
I'll
those
put.
tickets.
We'll also not just put it on social media. We'll add it part of the hip hop on the wall collection. Our exhibit starts on the
Oh
19th.
yeah, with Red McFly. Yeah,
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 so
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
add you to the calendar.
Okay, that's dope. Hell yeah, that's what I work on.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that works.
So
That works.
yeah, so officially added to the calendar. We're gonna put them on. We're gonna share good music. Yes, because and it was funny because Red was saying we need to do a spoken word. I was like, we can't. He's like, why? I was like, Rodney does that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't step on no toes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna add that to the calendar. So on the 21st, you make sure you go out and see everything going on over
Sure.
there. Like, I love that all the collaborations you're doing.
Mhm.
You know, uh, you got basement poetry. You got Rowita.
Mhm.
Like I love it because
We work with Mike and Movement Moves Media. Yeah, so that's the business model that we're following. I have faith in the community, so making sure that we build with the community and hire within the community is important. It's very important.
yes, I love that you're talking about that because one of the things that we forget in building community, we have to be able to collaborate.
Mhm.
If I can't work with you, you know what I mean, there's not too many other things I can do with you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We always want to attend protests and argue together. You know what I mean? Can I work with you? Can I eat with you?
yeah,
You know, can I trust my kids with you?
yeah,
Those things matter even more to me than can you stand outside and scream with me.
yeah.
Because once the screaming dies down, are you really gonna stay in the fight?
Right, exactly,
Because the fight doesn't end once the protest stops.
exactly. Yeah,
I won't attend any of your marches, but I'll fight every fight with
yeah.
you.
That part.
And so I love what you're doing,
Mhm.
and it was so important that we highlighted it, you know, for the world to see because it's easy to tell someone how to create, right? It's another thing to show someone my creation,
Mhm.
right? From the ground up. For me, you know, going to get these chairs, and I know there were people laughing at
Oh
you.
yeah, I know, I
You
know, I
know what I
know. It's like,
mean?
what's this guy doing
You
with these
know,
old chairs? And
yeah,
yeah,
they laughing at you, and you never lost hope, never lost focus. And now you have a space not only where you can create, but others can come create with
oh
you.
for sure, yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing. I want to applaud you. I want to applaud Angie. For because I support love.
Mhm.
That's what this is about, right? It's about love, right? Your love for good music, her love for the family, so that and the family's love, right, to continue to build into the next generation.
Mhm.
Because if she didn't support your passion, now it makes it harder for Nehemiah to lean into
Oh
his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
passion,
He said the kids
right?
watch. Yeah, the
So
kids watch.
it's all one great domino effect. Instead of knocking down, we're building up,
Mhm.
right? So dominoes don't fall down; they can also flow up.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
love that you're showing how these dominoes can flow up.
Yeah.
So I thank you. I thank you. I told you this hour will go by
It
quick.
flies.
You know, again, because we only got 5 minutes. Tell them again where to find it. It'll be on LehighValleyHipHop.com for you to find it as well. The link, and in every social media, we're gonna put it up.
Yeah,
But
appreciate you.
directly, I want you to.
Yeah, but get your tickets now. Early bird tickets are now going right now until Monday. So get your early bird tickets. Good food, live jazz, great poetry. Big shout out to Basement Poetry, and Chloe for partnering with us in the sponsorship. Get your tickets at goodmusic.com. You'll see the show tab, and that's where you buy the tickets. I mean, honestly, if you go to Google and you type in Good Music, no matter how it's spelled, you're going to find us. So type in Good Music shows, and you'll get our tickets. Make sure you get those tickets because we sell out, honestly. But like a couple days before the show, by the Wednesday before the Saturday, those tickets are gone.
It's always because I was mad at myself the last time because I'm like, all right, I'm in town.
Mhm.
I went to go buy the ticket. I was like, I'm not gonna use the homie pass. He worked hard. I was like,
Yeah,
so I was about
that.
to call like, yo, I got some bread. Like, throw me in. But you want to respect people's space, time, and energy. So be on time, be early, get your tickets, and make sure that you're in the building. He's creating an atmosphere. It's not just an event center. It's a place to be.
Yeah.
Good music. And when you're not there for the events, stop in, buy a book, buy a record, grab a shirt, support a up and coming business, not because you have to, but because you're blessed to. So yeah, man. I'm so proud of you. So before we go, I have to ask you to do what we've done with all of our guests. I've asked everyone to say my personal manifesto with me. I'll say it for you first, and then I'll ask you to repeat it. The reason we say it, is another way to truly inspire others to be great, to do great, and to have greatness. So my personal manifesto goes like this: I love me. I'm worthy. Some people may not like me, but I don't care. But the people that matter will be glad that I'm here. So I'll break it down slowly.
That's
I ain't expect you to remember at all. So ready? I love me.
I love me.
I'm worthy.
I'm worthy.
Some people may not like me.
Some people may not like me.
But I don't care.
But I don't care.
Because the people that matter.
Because the people that matter
will be glad that I'm here.
Be glad that I'm here.
And we were glad that you spent this hour with us, Rodney B. We were glad that we got to talk about good music.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, man.
Yes, sir. We're glad that we got to share the story of your family. We are glad that people realize that not only can they win, but they can win together. We are glad that we got to tell people, pick a good part, mistakes. We are glad, right, that we got to, right, that you can allow your child to be a business owner now.
Yeah.
We were glad that you were here. So we're going to allow you to have the last word on today's show.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, Paz, man, to be on the platform, to be on this podcast. It's a huge help, a huge thank you. And make sure y'all check out Good Music, man. If y'all don't come to the show, come to the site, to buy some stuff, check out the website, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired. So
yes.
Pull up.
Got to get that shirt. Show them that shirt. That shirt is fire.
Black, man.
Yes. Sure. So we thank Rodney B for coming out. Next week, we have April Riddick to talk about Juneteenth. We're going to make sure we're going to talk about her being also a person of politics. People don't know how much April Riddick is really doing in this community. How many people really knew that, April serves in the county, the highest vote getter that we've ever had because she got over 15,000 votes. So we have a great story for y'all next week, but make sure you go to Good Music. That's GUD music.com.
That's it.
Right? Get your tickets, get a book, get a record, come support a black business, not because you have to, but because you're blessed to. Peace.
Right, peace, y'all.